It's your boy, the Icon, and we're here live from beautiful Hollywood, Florida, and we're going over some superhero TV. Now, unfortunately, I didn't know prior to when I came here. I thought that we were getting The Flash and we were getting both Superman and Lois. Apparently, when they did the coming attractions for next week's episode, March 29th is when The Flash is coming back with new episodes. So we're only getting one review while I'm here on location, which is Superman and Lois. So now this is cool. Like we're gonna get through this. This was a good episode. This is it was a very sad episode, but it was a good episode, and we got to get through this one quick because it's hot. I guess it's hot. So anyway, so now in this particular episode, there's no right way to say it. Lois Lane got cancer. I was enjoying the episode. I was watching the episode. I was having fun. I was laughing. I was excited. And then when she dropped that, like my heart, like my heart died. Like when she dropped that thing. And it's weird because in a show called Superman and Lois, where the show is supposed to be about both of them, and you're supposed to get the dynamic between the Superman character and the Lois Lane character, Lois doing her own missions, having her own villains and her own people that she has to thwart. It makes you question the judge. It's like I'm at the point now, like I wish she would have been pregnant because we're at the point now where to have her have cancer, you kind of have to go all in on that. Like you can't do something where she has cancer and then by the end of the season they magically make it go away. It's almost like I gotta kind of like stick to this now. We're not gonna kill the character. Like I know we're not killing the character, but this is like I'm very confused by this, but it also does make for very like impelling, like intriguing like superhero television to see where they go from this. My hope with the whole cancer thing is that it turns out because Bruno Mannheim knows that Lois Lane is on his trail and she's trying to take him down and she's going after his organization, maybe he paid Dr. Irons to lie to tell Lois that she had cancer, or whatever experiments that Bruno Mannheim is doing, because he's trying to bring people back from the dead. Whatever experiments that he's trying to pull off, maybe one of those experiments will come Lois's way at some point, and then that'll cure Lois's cancer. Like she'll be a victim of one of his experiments. I don't know, but we'll see. So anyway, so she got cancer. She ain't telling nobody. She's keeping it to herself. Her and Clark, they go to work, and then Chrissy is just like, oh, I need you to interview the judge because the dude in the last episode, the one who ended up with the superpowers, he was in prison for some crimes, and then he kept trying to appeal and get out on bail, and the judge kept telling him no, 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 and then finally the judge said yes, and she let him out on bail. And the reason that was given was they found out that he had like a terminal brain tumor, but the guy got superpowers now, so obviously he ain't got no damn brain tumor. So Lois and Clark, like, they go down, to investigate. They roll up on the judge. Lois is very scary when she does the reporter thing, to the point where it's like you're doing a thing you're with Superman. And Superman was like deferring to her the entire time. So they run up on the judge, and then Lois told the judge, she was like, look, the person who you let go, who you let out of prison, he does not have a brain tumor. In fact, he was the person who Superman fought last week, and he now has superpowers. And then that's when the judge made a face, because she legitimately was under the impression. So it's not a thing where like the judge was like on the take, or like she was secretly like working for the bad guys. She legitimately thought he had a brain tumor. So somebody obviously lied to her. So then but then after that, then the Men in Black showed up, and then they were just like, this interview was over. They kicked everybody out, and then they ended up taking the judge into the next room, and they said whatever they had to say to the judge. So then later on, when Lois and Clark were having a conversation outside, the judge popped up on the rooftop, and then she was at the point where she was gonna jump off the building. But before she was about to jump off the building, the Men in Black, so to speak, they got in their car and they went to go back to Bruno Mannheim's office, and then that's when Lois told Clark, she was like, look, go follow them, because we need to find out where Bruno Mannheim actually is. Once he did, that's when the judge popped up on the ledge, and then she was just like, oh shit. So Lois goes up there, she starts talking to the judge. The judge was basically, the judge isn't a villain, like the judge isn't a bad person. The judge flat out said, she was like, look, I took this job because I wanted to make change. She was like, I wanted to help people, I want to do the right thing. But then she said when she got into the system, she found out exactly how corrupt the system actually is, and now she feels like she's trapped under the thumb of the man, and and she can't come from under. And then she said that the moment you walked in and questioned me about the dude who had the brain tumor, she said this is the day when I realized that I was going to die. And then Lois talked her off the ledge, literally. She was just like, look, she's like, you got to fight, you got to stay in the fight, things will get better. And then the judge was like getting closer and closer to the edge. So now when Clark finds out where Bruno Mannheim is, he turns into Superman and he flies into the sky. Bruno Mannheim has cameras all over his section of Metropolis that he runs. And the guy, one of the suits, one of the Men in Black suits, this was funny. He goes into Bruno Mannheim's office, and then he's just like, yeah, they didn't follow. He was like they didn't follow us. Lois Lane, she can't hurt us. Lois Lane's got nothing. And then when he said Lois Lane's got nothing, he turned one of his cameras on and showed him Superman. He was like, she's got Superman, motherfucker. Then he called him. He's like, bring your red, white, and blue ass down here. Superman he invited Superman to his house, and then Superman flies into his house, and they had the best conversation of all time. And it goes back to a comic. It was a long time ago. Like, there was a comic, it was a Superman Black Lightning comic where Black Lightning and Superman had a one-on-one conversation, and Black Lightning basically told him, he was like, the reason why I'm a hero, the reason why I'm the protector of Freeland, because he was just, or the South Side, that's what it was, the South Side. He was just like, you're Superman. He's like, you save the galaxy, you save the world, you save aliens, you save rich white people. He was like, but you don't come down to the hood, like you don't help people in the hood. And I love this conversation in this context because there's really nothing Superman could have said about that, because he even told him, because he was just like, oh, all you do is put out fires. And he was like, I'm the one that saved my community. I'm the one that resurrected my community. I'm my community Superman. I'm the one who these people look up to. And then that's when Superman was like, oh, you think I just put out fires? He was like, I actually saved lives. And he was like, you don't save lives in this part of town. Shit. And it was like, he was right. Like you can't even say nothing. Like, at the end of the day, he was right. That's exactly what happens. Like, Superman, and they did the same thing with Supergirl. And I wish they had that on Supergirl too, where they talk. Well, they kind of did that. Like the episode where Kelly became Guardian, and Kelly cursed out the entire cast. She basically told Supergirl, she was like, look, y'all out here trying to take down like big world threats. And she said, everybody's ignoring the little guy. And unfortunately, in this particular situation, the little guy just happens to be the black people. But like I said, the Bruno Mannheim, he said, I watched Morgan Edge and I watched Lex Luthor build up Metropolis and make billions and billions of dollars. And he said, but I'm the person, he said, this section of Metropolis belongs to me. And he was like, and I'm the king. And like, he's like, I'm the lawyer, I'm the judge, I'm the executioner, I'm the king. He's like, I'm Michael Jackson, you Tito, your ass belong to me. This is weird, because when he mentioned Lex, I was a little shocked when he mentioned Lex, because they did say that Lex Luthor was supposed to pop up on this particular season of Superman and Lois. The problem is, Bruno Mannheim is so good as a villain, and the dynamic between him and Superman is so good. I honestly don't think we need Lex Luthor on the show now, because like, if Lex shows up, what's he gonna do? And I'm gonna be very disappointed if we find out that Bruno Mannheim is actually working for Lex Luthor, because his presence as a villain, as a boss villain, like a kingpin boss villain, he could be the villain for the whole season, and there'd be no reason to have Lex Luthor. And then he tells Superman, he was like, you'll never come to my house again. And I'm like, but dude, you invited him. So anyway, so then at that moment, that's when Superman had got the call that the judge was on the ledge and she was about to jump. So he left, and then that's when Bruno was like, yeah, go put out another fire, bitch. Then Superman left. So Superman, he flies in to go save the judge. But when he got there, Lois was talking to the judge, and then that's when, Lois, and then the judge had said to Lois, she was just like, oh, you don't know how it feels to feel helpless and to feel powerless. And then that's when Lois told her, she was like, I actually do. And then while Clark was there as Superman, because she knew he had the super hearing, she was just like, I just found out that I have cancer. And she said it's aggressive cancer, and she was like, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, but she was like, but I got to stay in the fight. And then she's like, if I can fight having cancer, she's like, you can fight too, we can both fight together. And then she literally talked the judge off the ledge. The judge came down, her and Lois, and then Lois was just like, she was like, I'll talk to you in a minute. But then that's when Clark flew down, and then he hugged her, and then they, there was crying and everything. And then I almost had to walk out of the room because it was so emotional. But it was all very interesting. It was very interesting stuff. So now, the cat's out of the bag, literally. And I'm at the point again where I said, like, I kind of wish she was pregnant. This crippled the entire cast and like everybody on the show. So then I said, so that was it. And then they told the boys, and then they gave her a hug, and then they're just like, we're going to get through this as a family. So now the kids, because of the asbestos or the mold or whatever the hell was going on in the high school, the kids have actually a free day off. Sarah and Natalie, they decide to go to Metropolis because Sarah was trying to find some of Natalie's like old boyfriends from her Earth. And it is very weird that Sarah's aware of the crisis. Like when Sarah references Crisis, and she was just like, oh yeah, she was like, what boys did you like on your other Earth? Like, there's a part of me that's like, you're not supposed to know all this. Like, how do you like you're not supposed to know about the multiverse and the Crisis. You're not supposed to know she's from a different. Like, that's really weird. But they told her the secret. So if you're gonna tell her the secret about one thing, you gotta tell her the secret about everything. I said it's just weird to me when she talks about those things that she had no business knowing anything about. So then they were trying to find a guy that she had a crush on back on her old Earth. They found the guy that she had the crush on. The guy lived in Metropolis, and he was throwing a party. So then they decided to go to his party in Metropolis. And as soon as they showed you who the guy was that she had a crush on back in her old Earth, that's when I remembered this is a CW show. But then they immediately rectified the situation because the guy that she had the crush on this Earth, he's a total D-bag. He's an idiot. He's an asshole. Like, he's mean and everything. And actually, he has a girlfriend, or there was just some random girl he was making out with. So then they ended up trying to find another guy. Now, there was this one dude, and the dude that liked Natalie, because it was like this black dude that, you know, like Sarah decided to be her wingman. And then when she saw the black dude, she went over, she brought the black dude over, and then she introduced the two of them. The two of them had a conversation. He's been in something that I've seen before. I recognize his face. I just can't remember where, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm not going to Google it either. I'm going to figure it out. So anyway, so she brings them together. The two of them have a conversation. You know, they end up talking, getting to know each other, etc. He tells her that on the first episode of season 2, when she went to the high school for the first time, he did see her when she was in school. He said that, you know, he wanted to meet her, he wanted to get to know her, he wanted to talk to her, but he didn't have the chance. And then after that, he didn't see her again because she left the school and then later on went to Metropolis. So then they said, so the two of them are talking, they're getting it on, like it seems to be like this nice little thing. So now Jordan and Jonathan got a call from his ex-girlfriend, because when they brought this girl up, because he was just like, oh, Eliza called me, she said there's a party in Metropolis. I was like, who the fuck is Eliza? I forgot all about this girl, because that was his girlfriend in season 1 when they lived in Metropolis. But then when he moved to Smallville, that's when he started dating the dark-haired girl, because the other girl had broke up with him. And I forgot about that, because I was like, did they recast his girlfriend like in Smallville? So anyway, so this was his original girlfriend from like day 1. So he ended up, you know, so she invited him to the party. He goes out, so now Jonathan's at the party, Jordan's at the party, Natalie's at the party, Sarah's at the party. When Jonathan goes down to the party, he sees his ex. He thinks that they're friends. She basically tried to sleep with him. He said the nay because he was like, I have a girlfriend, and then he got out of Dodge quickly as possible. Thank you, brother, because I could not stomach a whole season, because then it would have had to be a thing where now his whole story arc is going to be, oh, I cheated on my girlfriend, and now she hates me. And I was like, I ain't feel like going through that the whole season. So the fact that he said no, and he got his ass out of the room, we're all good, and hopefully that storyline dies and nothing else is going to come out of it from here. Jordan, he was walking around the party because, again, him and Sarah are friends now, and he's trying to, like, you know, meet new girls, and he's trying to, like, see new people. What ended up happening was the guy that runs the party, he bumped into him because he saw Sarah over in the corner, and he was like, oh shit, Sarah's here. He tried to run. He bumped into the guy. The guy spilled beer all over himself, and then he was going to fight Jordan. And then Sarah came over. It turned into this whole big thing. And then they decided to do like beer pong to win, you know, to get money from them. And then, you know, Sarah and Jordan together, like they ended up playing beer pong, and they cleaned house on everybody, you know, like in Metropolis. They got all the rich boy Metropolis money. They had a conversation. And once again, because this is like their 5th conversation, I'm just like, how many conversations y'all going to have about the fact that y'all not going to be together? So then they finally decided, because it was really like Jordan that couldn't let it go because she wanted to be friends and he couldn't let it go. So anyway, they finally had the conversation. He let it go. They shook hands on it. Now they're going to be friends. And I swear to God, I hope that Jordan meets a new girl in episode 3 and starts dating some new girl so Sarah can get jealous and then do this whole big thing. And then he can be like, oh, I thought you said you want to be friends. And then it's like, that's what's going to happen. Like, we know this is where it's headed, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, so then after that, so then now the guy, the bully gets mad. He ends up trying to fight. And this is funny because people still pick on Jordan and they don't know he has superpowers. And Jordan acts like he doesn't have superpowers when he's getting picked on. And then while he was getting picked on, then Natalie shows up, and then she leaves the guy that she's talking to. And then when the whole gang shows up, like they dip, you know, to avoid getting into a fight. And then later on, Jordan ends up going back to the guy's house, and he cold freeze breathed his car and froze his car on his birthday. And I was like, that's kind of fucked up. But then I was like, if you was that hard, like if you had all that guts and determination, why you ain't display that shit when he called you a bitch in front of everybody at the party? See, that's the problem with Jordan. And at this particular point, because the two of them agreed that they're going to be friends and they're not going to have a relationship and that's going to be it, I swear to God, I hope this storyline dies, because there is no reason for us to continue with this if the two of them aren't actually going to, you know, end up being together. Like, the drama portion of this, like, needs to die, like, immediately. But then after that, you know, then Sarah got a call from her mom, and then they had to head back to Metropolis. And speaking of her mom, and I told y'all this, it's like, y'all thought I was kidding. I told y'all, but boy, John Harry Ayers, he gonna bang the mayor, and it's coming because Natalie got permission from her dad to go to the party. Sarah lied to her mama. Then there was a moment where Lana had got a call from the old mayor, and the old mayor was being attacked by the lady with the weird face who has who has like the harmonic powers. And then the mayor died, and then before he died, he told Lana, he said, "You have to understand, I was just trying to be the pride of Smallville," and then he died. So then Lana ends up going to John Henry Irons' house to try to talk to him. She was just like, "Oh, I'm looking for Sarah," and then he was like, "Well, they went to Metropolis," and then she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that," and then so she's just like, "Oh, my world's falling apart, and I don't know what to do," and then he was like, "Why don't you come on in?" He said, "Why don't you come on in and get some of this mushroom tortellini?" And the two of them start. He gonna hit it. Like I'm telling you, he gonna hit it. So then it's gonna be this whole big thing because now that Natalie and Sarah are best friends, once her dad starts banging her mom, it's gonna be this whole big thing. So then she ended up telling him what the mayor said about the whole Pride of Smallville. John Henry Irons ain't no fool. He went to investigate. They went down to the mayor's office, and there's a sign behind the mayor's desk that says the Pride of Smallville. They checked behind the sign and they found a hard drive. They foolishly tried to look up the information of the hard drive in the office, and then while they were there, the same chick with the harmonic powers who killed the old mayor tried to kill them too. And then she didn't succeed. She didn't kill him, but when she saw John, she recognized him because she was the person who killed that particular Earth's version of John Henry Irons. So then when she goes back to Bruno Mannheim later in the episode, she was like, "We have a problem, boss. John Henry Irons is alive." And then he was like, "I thought you killed him." And she was like, "I did." But he's standing right there. So I think now, because they're trying, for some weird reason, because they're trying to bring people back from the dead, I think Bruno Mannheim is going to go after John Henry Irons, thinking he somehow came back from the dead, and he's going to want to know how he was able to come back from the dead so he can finish performing his experiments. So then that was it with that whole thing. And we're getting, where's Diggle? Like, what happened to Diggle? We're getting more into the whole, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if his sister on this Earth, if she's not working for Bruno Mannheim, and she's the one that lied and told Lois that she had cancer. But I don't know. Like I said, there's some weird stuff going on. Oh, also, Mr. Cushing or Cortez, I forget which name they're going by, Mr. Cortez and Chrissy, like, they're still talking. Like, he didn't hit it yet. That was it. And thank you for tuning in. So now, that's a good episode of Superman and Lois. This one hurt. This one hurt because I really like this show, and it's going to be some rough times ahead, y'all, because Lois Lane, because there's going to be a lot of emotional baggage that's going on here because of her having cancer, but then at the same time, she's still Lois Lane, so she's still going to be pig-headed, and she's still going to be jumping into the fire and doing crazy ass shit. So we're going to have to be there for that, to see the will they, won't they, and how this whole unfolds. But honestly, they need to stick with the cancer if they're going to do it. But because the show is called Superman and Lois, and because we're doing all these experiments this particular season, something going to happen when she's not going to have cancer, or they're going to find out the cancer was a lie. But share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. What did you think of this particular episode of Superman and Lois? Do you like where the story's headed? Do you not like where the story's headed? Which storylines are you excited about, and which ones are you not excited about? Because the only two storylines I'm actually excited about right now is the Bruno Mannheim Superman dynamic, where John Henry Irons fits in and all that, and whether or not John Henry Irons is going to bang the mayor. So but hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, always on YouTube, where you can share your questions, comments, and or concerns. Apparently, since we don't got Flash this week, we're going to get Flash next week, so I'm going to do my review when I go back home, of the Flash for that particular week, as well as episode 3 of Superman and Lois. We got the Titans trailer. The Titans trailer came out. I'm definitely looking forward to the Titans, and that's another one, that one's going to hurt, but I'll talk more about that when I do the Titan reviews. But the Robin outfit is banging, and Doom Patrol's coming up next, so we all know that's going to happen. And also, check out the Tacos and Geek Hour podcast with myself, Sean, Justin, and Gotham Geek Girl Nadia, also with 2 very special guests. So there's a 6-person panel. In this particular episode, we talk about the GOAT, who we think is the greatest of all time in certain categories. So check that podcast out. I believe it went up on Friday the 24th. Link will be in the description below. And like I said, all is good, but I got to do that when I get back. So check that out definitely, because when you find out, what we think, as some of the greatest of all times, leave comments on that one too. Like if there's something that you agree with that we said, say that. But if you have a greatest of all time in a certain category that you like, put that in the comment section too. Let's say we can all come together and talk about it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. About to take me a dip in this ocean. So until next time, until I get back home, I'll see you then. And we're out this.